Hi, guys. This conversation was so full of value that we decided to break it into a mini series. In this first episode, we talk about the mission and the deeper purpose behind the work. Before you go, I've got a quick favor to ask. We're reaching a pretty good number of listeners, but only a small percentage of you are subscribed to our channel. So please, if this episode brought you any value at all, please take 1 second to subscribe, to follow us, like, and comment. We'd love to hear your feedback. And also, it's completely free and it helps us tremendously to improve our conversations and our platform. Just hit the subscribe button below. It truly means a lot to us.
Incredible mentor to so many dancers. Janet Jackson, Britney Spears, Prince, Miley Cyrus. Let me try it. Let me try it. I gotta try it.
Let the rhythm take control. Feel the fire in your soul.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Booiaka.
clap your hands for
Teresa
Espinosa.
If you feel it in your soul, then you already know. Welcome to the ring. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much for having me.
Thank
This is,
you.
Awesome to be here.
I love everything that you're doing right now, everything that you have done in the past. I don't even know where to start because there's so much. Like, you've done it all.
Well, maybe not everything, but I've done a lot in the industry, and now I'm in a new chapter. I'm moving into a new chapter of mentoring, coaching, doing manifestation work, and
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well,
Let's backtrack. Let's go from now.
Well, I'm doing that now because I have the words and the language to understand how I was able to manifest 25 years of
A wonderful career.
a wonderful career. There was ups and downs. There was challenges. I had to really look at my ego, do the spiritual work, do the inner work, all of that. And I was doing all of that before I had language for it. And one of the things that really set me up to understand what I was doing for this 25 years was I saw The Secret in 2007. And that was a huge moment for me. I manifested having my own townhouse. Like, it happened so fast. Because
Well, you are definitely a strong manifester, right?
well, we all are. So this is the thing that I want to say about manifesting is we're all manifesting, but we're manifesting what we don't want more than what we do want.
Ooh.
So because we're a magnet, we're an energetic magnet. So, and we've been taught to complain and talk about the things we don't want.
Who is Teresa today?
I would say that I am very centered, grounded. I feel good about all of my choices, even the ones that were not great choices at the time. One of the things that I would say that's gotten me to this point, that allows me to keep going, is I practiced a lot of grace for myself. I did not get everything right. I made a ton of mistakes. I hurt people. I was immature. I made poor choices, burned bridges, and you could look at my career and think, oh, I did everything right. No, I did some, as a human.
Yeah, that part.
That part.
When I came up with this idea, it was to highlight the human side of us, because I feel like there's no time better than right now that people need to see this, need to feel it, because there's distance between what is human and what is, like all of this facade of, we just went through the worst time in terms of aesthetic filters and influencers showing like travels and everything is good, everything looks good. I remember at my time when I was traveling, I was showing all the issues that I had. I missed the train, I missed the, but that was the fun, because it's part of life, and that's how people can recognize themselves to be, that's life.
Yes.
Still a human being, doing what they love to do. I feel like that era of showing everything perfect is gone, and this is the perfect time to do this.
Yeah. Well, because we're.
It's the time. People.
I love
Give it to
this.
me. It's the time.
This is one of
Did
the
I say the
things-
right thing?
Wow, I love this.
Right? Well, who doesn't? We love money.
That's right, we do.
See, that's manifesting.
Yeah, that's right. All my dreams just came true.
That fast.
Yeah.
Look at that.
That's right.
So, I know that you're teaching right now. Move
on Purpose is my business
Is
name.
your business.
Yeah, and it's just like my intention for, bridging the whole dance and manifestation, being intentional, being focused, being clear, which kind of connects to everything that you want to talk about today.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's called the Dance Collective.
Okay.
And it's an online community where I can teach all of the principles that I'm practicing and still learning and implementing.
Oh, awesome.
And knowing how I was able to manifest the 25-year career, having language, having words, understanding of concepts of what's actually working
Right.
and how it worked together. And so I teach all of that on Mondays, and then on Fridays we do Freestyle Fridays. So we do embodiment work, which is what dance did. Dance allowed me to like get centered and be confident in my skin.
Dance
which
is a meditation.
yes, it is. If you let it be. Some people are just stuck in they're just stuck in their heads,
Of
self-judgment,
showing up.
right? And then, the not enough, and I'm not this. And I'm not saying I didn't have that. I did have some of that. And also I had these other practices I was using that I didn't have the words for at the time. But
Because
now,
to you was natural.
yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to learn this stuff. I just knew stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the things, and I've said this story recently to my students, is, I'd go to the club and I would go psych myself up. I would literally be at the club, go to the girls' bathroom, and they'd always have a wall mirror. And I'd go in front of the mirror because the music's so loud, you can hear it in the bathroom, right? And I'd just start dancing and telling myself how dope I was.
Wow. That is self-affirmation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So whereas most people look at themselves in the mirror and they dance, they're like going, "Oh, I'm not this, I'm not that. I need to do this." And I didn't have I did, but I had that practice going for me, not knowing what it was doing. I was literally speaking into myself, like all the confidence, all the belief that, I can do this.
Well, I did the same, but why didn't I get to Janet?
Because the path was meant to be the path.
No, I'm actually super happy on the path that I had. I'm just laughing, of course. But how amazing it is, first of all, that you're dedicating this time and that you have made, you had to do the work. I had a student that was helping me to do the manual for Booiaka, saying, you do this, you do that, because I didn't know what I was doing because it was natural. And I'm assuming the same way, like in this case, like sometimes we do things that are natural to us, but then if you actually stop and think about it, you're like, wow, that was a powerful thing I did.
Yes.
And there's so many things that I'm talking about, the age and the maturity and where you get when you are this age, you find out so many things that you did just right without knowing how good they were. It's amazing.
Yeah. And especially, because you manifested your business and the success that it had, right? So there are things that we instinctually know. It's just when we get caught up in the head and do that death spiral of the not enough story, then I don't believe in myself, and wishing, hoping, waiting for something to tell you why you're worthy that's outside of you. Yeah. Everything is created within. And that's why it's like, I didn't know that at the time. I know that now. And so when we go on Fridays, the Freestyle Fridays, there's a couple of things that are happening. It's a safe space to explore what your body wants to do naturally. So for people who just love dance and just want to feel free in their body, this is what I'm doing. And on top of that, we're incorporating the Monday session, the lesson, into embodiment work where we do affirmations, speak them out loud while we're moving.
That's amazing. That's so beautiful.
And I call them movement mantras. So we do these movement mantras that literally, like, you're importing the truth, the spiritual truth.
I find myself having difficulties, which is kind of funny, but you will laugh about it, but I found it difficult to have conversations. I never needed to look for clients. I never needed to, because I was attracting people to me, to my classes, and you probably had the same, definitely more than me. But I realized at a certain point when my voice had to be more powerful, even though when I was doing training, it was fine. But when my voice had to be more powerful, it was very difficult to attract with my voice, because I was used to attract with my
your body
movement.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so this can help them tremendously. Yes. What kind of transformation do you see?
I see that. So I have she's not my friend, but at first, like, we're becoming friends, and she took one of my programs last year called The Movement, and she completely unlocked like this belief in herself. And it's so beautiful to witness, to the point where we took a class, I think on Wednesday. Yeah, this week was her first class in 20 years.
Wow.
One of my other...
Because she didn't have the courage? Like, what was blocking her?
Yeah, I mean, life just happens, right? And you have this desire to dance, and you just keep living your life with this desire still back there. And then as I was sharing what my program was about, it was really about, like, helping women who have this unfulfilled dance dream. Yeah. And so it really resonated with her. She did it. And then now that we're becoming friends, dance is still part of my life. It's like she's touching that part that she felt like she lost a long time ago. Wow. and never thought it could come back, but at this stage in her life. And so we went to class together. Beautiful. And she took her first dance class in 20 years. And I'm just like, I'm just so proud. Yeah. And then I also have another student in Japan, Sachio, if you're hearing this, hi.
I thought you.
Yes, hi. And, she wanted to do her first class, like teaching her first class, and she did it. While we were working together, she made her dream come true of like teaching dance.
Well, I think I'm a dancer, but love teaching. Like
Yes.
that has always been one of my, but probably that's why I ended up that way, that route. But teaching from like just the idea of seeing someone overcoming for me was so
Yes.
rewarding. And so these are the stories that I love the most. Like when I see someone that can overcome their fears or anything, it's just it's
Yeah,
amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I also I do movement stuff, and I also have my own, I don't know what, I guess coaching system method. It's called the movement method, and I did a session with one of my clients, and literally within a week she booked Coachella, dancing on Coachella. Like, we processed some things that were kind of like blocking her from being really
Yeah.
confident, and once we worked through that, she booked Coachella the next week. She got an agent, like literally within days after that. And she was like, I'm going to auditions and I feel good about myself. And I'm like, amazing. This is amazing.
Wow.
So,
It's sometimes it takes also somebody from outside to
Yes.
say something. Like how many times in our life it's happened that the last stranger just say something that just click and change our life. Like it's crazy. But at times there's a training or there's something mental that is blocking. What is the challenge that you see the most in this generation?
ooh, I would have to, yeah. Oh, there is a couple of things I will speak to. One of them, as a dancer, this is purely for dancers that are coming up. One of the things that I see the most that I don't understand how they're doing this, but they don't know how to count music.
I noticed that very recently. I wasn't dancing in a long
Yeah.
time, and one of my girl came in, and I was trying to have her teaching to. It was more my generation
Yeah.
of dancers, and I realized the same thing, and I was like, oh, and now how am I gonna fix it? Because
Yeah.
they are very good in tempo,
Yes.
and catching the hook or catching the beat and all of that, but
Ask them to count. Ask them to count the choreography they can't.
yeah.
It blows my
Yeah.
mind. They're catching it, but I also know because they don't know how to count, they're kind of guessing, which messes with their confidence. Like if you know internally,
I
you're kind
think
of
so too.
Yeah.
But as to be frankly honest with you, when I asked her and I said, "Can you please give them the count so they can follow?"
She couldn't do it. There are different ways to teach, right? You can use like musicality and
Yeah.
go boom boom cat dee
Yeah,
dee da
yeah.
dee 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 dee.
Yeah,
You know,
that's me.
and
But I
it
do a
works.
lot of, but I need the count to know the
Yes.
count to be able to do that.
Yes, because different people learn differently. So having counts is great. To me, that's a foundational thing.
For me too.
Yeah. And then you can use the musicality and the sounds and everything, or the lyrics or whatever. And I think that's what a lot of people are using. But I do recognize that when they don't know really how to count and they're kind of guessing, that's why they're not as confident as they could be, because they're kind of going, am I in the right place?
Yeah.
So if you knew the counts as a dancer and you know where it is in the music, you're not guessing anymore.
Well, my way to show it was to break down the song. Do you
Yeah.
know which one is the verse, the hook,
That's
the
right.
bridge?
That's
and
right.
They don't.
Yeah.
So it's interesting
Yeah.
because it's like there is a gap
There
of
is a gap.
experience or things that will get you there to perfect
Yeah,
to a
it's-
certain level, right? It's crazy that they can do it without it.
I don't know how they're doing that. I have no idea. Like it blows my mind.
We were talking about something like this with my guest Monica in the first episode. I have to be prepared to be good at improvising.
Yeah.
But if I go in and I know that I'm not prepared, let's say I'm going in class and I didn't prepare the choreography or I didn't prepare
Yeah.
the class, I'm not gonna improvise as good as if I did.
Right.
If they would be prepared, they will probably do even better than what
Yeah.
they're doing.
Yeah, you're kind of speaking to something where, like in the freestyle world, right? Freestyle world. The more that you understand music and you actually study music,
Yeah.
that's a game changer that I don't think most dancers understand. And some of the greatest hip hop, freestyle b-boys, b-girls, whatever, they study music. They know all the beats, the drops, and the lyrics, and they know when that thing is going to go, and they do it because that's the preparation I think you're speaking to, and that's what makes them stand out so much is because they study. This isn't, we're born out of the womb and we're just amazing dancers.
Back in the days, let's go a little bit with your experience.
Yeah.
I want to know something funny. I want to know what is tell us one of the things that Janet does that is sweet before to go on stage, or a real moment. Give me a real moment that you have in your heart.
I actually, have one of those. So before every show,